In the years leading up to World War II, General Heinz Guderian shaped German armored doctrine around a battlefield where different tanks had strictly separated specialized jobs. Under the system, the Panzer III was the dedicated tank killer, designed to operate at the tip of the spear, engaging and destroying enemy armor. The Panzer IV fulfilled a different role entirely. It was designed as an infantry support vehicle, meant to trail behind the vanguard, to destroy bunkers, fortifications, and soft targets. To meet these requirements, early Panzer IV models were engineered under a strict 24-ton weight limit and armed with a short, low-velocity howitzer rather than a high-velocity anti-tank gun. Every element of the chassis was optimized for this supporting task. Even though the vehicle would eventually spend its service life forced into the frontline role it was originally meant to avoid. By April 1941, the Panzer IV Ausgabe I reached the functional limit of the infantry support doctrine. Engineers finally discarded the bolted-on applique armor plates used on previous variants. In their place, the F1 utilized a consolidated armor envelope, a single flat frontal plate, 50 mm thick and 30 mm of side armor. This thicker steel pushed the vehicle's weight to 22 tons. To prevent that extra mass from sinking the tank into soft earth, the tracks were widened from 38 centimeters to 40 centimeters. For its primary armament, the F1 relied on the 7.5 centimeter KWK-37L24 gun. For armored combat, this weapon had a clear limitation. It fired with a low muzzle velocity of just 430 meters per second. This arcing trajectory is effective for lobbing high explosive shells, but the round lacks the kinetic energy required to punch through thick steel. The F1 was a structurally robust machine, but its specialized offensive capability left it unprepared for the reality of modern, heavy armored warfare. That reality arrived in June 1941 with Operation Barbarossa. As German forces pushed east, they encountered a massive surprise: the Soviet T-34 and KV-1 tanks. The T-34 in particular possessed a distinct defensive advantage. Its thick, aggressively sloped armor geometry deflected incoming fire far better than the flat plates of early war designs. Against this sloped steel, the F-1's low-velocity KWK-37 gun was completely ineffective. It could not penetrate Soviet frontal armor at standard combat ranges. This created an immediate tactical crisis. German crews were operating a heavy support vehicle suddenly forced to fight frontline enemy armor they could not damage. Outgunned F-1 crews had to change their tactics to survive. They sought out urban environments and tight corners, trying to close the distance and strip away the Soviet range advantage. They also changed their ammunition. Crews abandoned standard kinetic armor-piercing rounds in favor of heat or high-explosive anti-tank shells. A heat shell doesn't rely on the speed of the gun. Instead, upon impact, it uses an explosive to collapse a metal cone into a high-velocity chemical-shaped charged jet that burns through the armor. Because the shell creates its own energy, its penetration remains identical regardless of the range. Defensively, crews had to protect their vulnerable 50 mm flat front plate from Soviet 76 mm guns. They turned the entire hull to a 20-degree offset relative to the incoming line of fire, positioning the enemy between their 11 and 1 o'clock. By keeping the vehicle tilted, they changed the geometry of an impact. A shell hitting that plate on an angle now has to travel through a physically longer path of steel, which increases the armor's relative thickness. These were high-risk survival mechanisms. Operator skill and clever positioning were the only things compensating for a severe mechanical deficit. Because tactical workarounds were unsustainable for a prolonged war, the German military authorized a radical evolution. In early 1942, the Ost F2, The F-2's upgrade replaced the short howitzer with the long-barreled, high-velocity 7.5 cm KWK 40L43 gun. This new weapon system required a spherical muzzle brake to absorb its violent recoil. This upgrade was possible because the Panzer IV's hull featured a turret ring diameter of at least 1,600 millimeters. This extra clearance allowed it to accept a heavy breach and recoil system that smaller tanks, like the Panzer III, could not accommodate. The new gun created a different ballistic reality. The F-2 could penetrate 77 millimeters of sloped steel at a distance of 1,830 meters, restoring parity with the T-34, since the Panzer III's turret ring was too small to fit the larger weapon. The Panzer IV usurped its role as Germany's primary tank killer. The F-1 variant standardized the 50 mm armor envelope and widened tracks that sustained the Panzer IV throughout the conflict. This chassis provided the foundation for a vehicle that began as a support platform and ended as the primary combat tank of the German military.